Hello, hello, and welcome back to Frozen Prairie Scouting. Today, I wanted to take a look at some of my favorite prospect classes and some of my least favorite ones. And again, nothing against any teams. A lot of this has to do with where they are in the stages of their team. Are they rebuilding? Are they going for it? I mean, that has a lot to do with everything that's going on. Um, but yes, this is my post-draft prospect class rankings. So I'll go through 5 of the teams I really like, and then I have 6 teams I'm not so hot on their classes. And then, yeah, I just wanted to kind of share my thoughts and opinions on each team as they are. Um, we're going to start with my number one team, San Jose Sharks. I know a lot of people go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's hit them with my favorite one. I got the San Jose Sharks. Um, Pretty unfair with what all they have. Almost every player I have on here is probably going to play NHL games, whether it's with the Sharks or not. They got some interesting decisions to make in the future. My expectation is that Stenberg will play this year. Um, Verhoff, I'd like to see 2 more years before he's in the NHL. I'm thinking 1 more year in college and then a year in the AHL. Nice thing with San Jose, their AHL team's right there. Um, Verhoff, I do see as a top 3 defenseman. I think he'll be a top 4 guy. I think there's a lot there to his game. Ravensburgen, we know goalies take time. Had another really good year this year, heading off to Michigan State. Probably 2 years there before he's ready. But let him. They have Askarov. Let Ravensburgen grow. Lynn is very interesting. Ryan Lynn. I love his game. I think his IQ is high enough to make it quicker, but he's obviously got to put some weight on, and I think college is going to be really, really good for him. I see a future top 4 defenseman. I think he'll have 2 years at Denver before he's ready to make the pro jump. Chernyshov, obviously he could be higher on this list. Great pick by them. We're going to see what he does this year. It looks like he'll make the team, but he might be kind of up and down. Quinton Musty, I think he might surprise everyone this year. I'm going to start the year with the Sharks. I really like what he brings offensively, and I could see him doing it at the next level here. Um, he had a very good year in the AHL. It looks like I didn't watch a ton of him this year, but like highlights and things I've seen, I really really like this player. I also think he's an interesting trade chip for them, especially with how they're like. We'll see where they're at in the middle of the year because I think it's just kind of too clogged up top, and Musty's kind of that player that needs to be on a second line. I can see. Wetch, I see him as a nice prospect, bottom 6 edition. McKinney, he's a good centerman, also a potential third line center. So Wetch and McKinney, I can see, you know, if they stay as kind of the 3 and 4 center, which is great to have in your system to develop and build the team around. I really like what McKinney did at Michigan this year. Wetch didn't have the best year, but I think there's a lot there for him. Leo Salin Wallenius obviously has an offensive ability to him as a defenseman. He makes some nice two-way, nice passes out of in both the ozone. He has some pro movement that I like. He'll be a good puck mover at the next level, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what he does as well with the Barracuda this year. Polkamp I find very interesting, obviously with his size. He had a great year in the NCAA. He's got that power play quarterback in him. I'm really excited to kind of see what he does. Like he's got a really nice one-timer. I've watched a few of his goals back now. Wow. A lot to like offensively. He's got to be with the right partner though, or else it really makes it hard for him. And obviously their graduate prospect, Michael Misa, wasn't really a prospect for long, similar to what Ivar Stenberg is going to be. Kind of like a prospect until September, and then he's a player. Next, my number 2, another really nice prospect class here, prospect pool, the Chicago Blackhawks. Lots of size here. Wow. Vanaker, I have him at number 1. I really don't know why. I really like him, and I think he's closest to the NHL out of the rest of these guys, who I all see as really good prospects as well. Anton Frundell finished the year with them. Sasha Boiver is already looking like he's going to be playing. So I kind of have this as guys who aren't going to be on the team this year, but how I see them. Vanaker could surprise in camp as well. He had a really, really good year in Brantford this year. He brings a lot to the table. Zav, what a steal. I might be higher on him than most people, but it's my rankings, so I got Zav number 2 because I love him. Nestor Sill is a guy to watch out for. I really liked this pick, and I really liked what he did at UMass as a freshman this year, and I think he had a really good development camp. One more big year in college, and I think we're going to see him finish the year in the NHL, depending on how the season's going. Martin Misiak, I could probably have him lower on this list. Played in the AHL this year, a bit up and down. He's got good pace and good skill, and I think he's still trending towards maybe being a bottom 6 player, and those are going to be valuable in the future. Rubric, another one of the guys that the Blackhawks took a swing on. He's got a ton of upside. I think huge player. He's going to Guelph. It's going to be a good year for him. I think we're going to see him bounce back as well. Then we come into Mason West, obviously the long-term project. I started watching a bit more of his video from Fargo, and there is a player there. Obviously started late in the year after. Sorry about that. He won the state championship there in football. This next year is going to be a big development year. It looks like he's going to Michigan State, and that's still the plan. He did get traded in the WHL to Portland. I'm wondering if that's where he should go. And a big reason for that is ice time. This kid needs to get on the ice more. He needs to play more games. He needs to and that's where the WHL would be really good for him this year, and then go to Michigan State. Michigan State's pretty loaded already. What does they don't need him this year, and I think it'd be better for his development if he just went to the WHL, went to somewhere like Portland, which is a great organization, and just played and practiced hockey for the year. And you'll play a ton of games. You will be a force out there. I think it would make the most sense for his development, personally. But I'm not him. I'm not his agent. That's his decision. Nathan Bem had a great year in Kamloops. I really like his game, and he's trending toward being a top 9 forward. Probably, when I say that, third line guy with a scoring upside is what I mean. Samuel Larari, I really liked him in the pick in the 3rd round. I think he'll turn into an NHL player as well. Adam Gunjan, I'm not a goalie guy. I'll never say I am. Numbers are good. He got some good size, and apparently, based on something I read, he moves laterally well. Spellacy, I like his game. I think he's going to be a bottom 6 forward. He's got speed and grit. I like that. There's something there like that. I think he will translate to being that type of player for the Blackhawks in the future. So that's my Blackhawks. I'm not saying a lot about these guys. I'm going to try and make this video not crazy long for you guys. All right, Nashville, number 3. They're building a really nice pipeline here. I love their pipeline. I think there's a lot of good players here, but I think Nashville's still missing that, if they could get Landon Dupont next year, or Alexei Joseph, like a top 2 pick next year, or even top 3 pick with a Privalov, like a big name, franchise changer. I would love to see get Nashville get. Martin, at the time, like he was just a high riser. He does a lot of things well for a pro game. He's going to be a unique top 6 forward. Like he's got all the tools and he's tough. And he's tough to play against. He's hard to play against. He finishes every hit. He's going to suck to play against. And that's kind of, again, I watched some more video on this guy. He's going to be a unique kind of player, and I really like that about him. Molendyk, I think he's going to be on a good track to be a top 4-5 defenseman in the NHL with a power play ability. I really liked him in Med Hat at the end of the year there, and I think he had a pretty good year in Milwaukee this year. So I think he's on a good trajectory here. Cullen, Nashville's hilarious. They seem to grab the biggest riser all the time in the drafts and bet on that. And Wyatt Cullen obviously looked really good this year, and I think he's going to be a really good player for them in the future. Cameron Reed, I love him at the Mem Cup. He's trending towards be a really strong player too, especially on the D side there. Riker Lee, he's got future top 6 forward potential. He's got the skills and the hockey sense. He's still building something really good there, and I'm excited to see him develop too. Another one of those guys that Nashville grabbed that I think was a really smart pick. Tommy Blell, again, Nashville loves big risers. I like Blell, and I really like what they're building on the defensive side there. When you look at Molendyk, Cameron Reed, Tommy Blell, like those are 3 solid defensemen that all have top 4 potential. You're building something really good there. Ivan Kovic, I think he looks like the next Saros. Again, not a goalie guy. I'll never say I am. But man, he's been important everywhere he played. Igor Surin. This kid looks like a Russian Brady Martin almost. There's something I really like about him. I watched some video on him yesterday when I was putting this list together. And I think he's got a ton of potential too to be a top 6 forward. And again, I just feel like Nashville's missing that future number 1 center right now in their pipeline. And they're hard to get, right? It's not easy to get those kinds of guys. David Edstrom, he's a 6'3" center, got some two-way ability, probably a bottom 6 guy. Fink, he looked really good in the AHL at the end of the year. I'm worried that's all he's going to be. He was a really good college player. I feel like this is a guy that's just going to be a very good AHLer and then head to Europe. I like him. I think he's got a good game, but maybe he gets a couple NHL games, but I don't see him as a long-term NHL player, and I could be very wrong. Reed Shaver, you could kind of put on the bubble. I could have him on this list, but I have him as a graduate prospect, and same with Joachim Kemmel. And I wanted to honorable mention Teddy Stiga. I like him as a player. Viggo Gustafsson, another player, and then Andrew Gibson, defenseman, who they grabbed in a trade in 2024 with Detroit. Again, they got a really good prospect pool. So we got the New York Islanders next here at number 4. I've been really building a nice back end. Schaefer, Aitchison, Gustafsson. I just think Gustafsson was a really solid pick this year. He's going to slot real nicely on that left side behind Schaefer. It's going to be a tough blue line if he develops well. Aitchison, I've always liked him. He's going to bring a nice element to the Islanders in the future. He loves to hit. He loves to be tough to play against. I think he'll slot probably beside Gustafsson. I think you still need to find Schaefer's future D pairing for 10 years. But you never know who it's going to be. Eklund, I could probably put at number 1. I just find D-men to be really important. This guy intrigues me as a prospect. The more I watch, especially in his AHL games, I think he's going to be a really good player for the Islanders. Obviously had that really nice assist when he played for them. I think he just brings an element they haven't had in a while. I think if they don't trade Barzell, Eklund will kind of just be a lot of fun to play with Barzell. Cole Iserman, I'm rooting for you. Uh, BU had a tough year, so it's hard to kind of gauge how his development's going because he played pretty well in the AHL when he came up at the end of the year. I want to see how this year goes. I hope he can make the Islanders, but obviously this is a kid that needs to play with skill in the top six in order to be effective. Prokhorov, I haven't watched a ton of him, but a lot of people say he's a potential third liner. He's got a lot of size behind him. I think there's a lot of development there, but I have him at number 5 because he's got some true potential in the future. Number 6, Danny Nelson, another trustworthy center that does a lot of things right. He's going to be a long-term style player for the Islanders. He could be ahead of Prokhorov on this list. I think there's just like this with the size, you almost fall in love with it a lot, and I kind of put him ahead there. But I think Nelson might be closer to the NHL. Kamil Bednarak, lots of competition for this bottom 6 role for the Islanders in the future. They have drafted well. There are a lot of guys that can battle for it with, Prokhorov, Nelson, Bednarak. But Bednarak might be more of that 4th line kind of guy. Luca Romano obviously had a really good year with Kitchener, I think it was. Lots of potential here. Thomas Polton, lots of skill development. His numbers haven't jumped off the page for me, especially as a guy who played on a good team this year. So we'll see. Josh Cote, they just signed him. He had a big year in the NCAA. We'll see how he develops. Goalies are always so funny. Honorable mention, I have Jesse Pulkkinen and Kalle Adelius, and graduating prospects in Schaefer and Callum Ritchie. So there's a lot here with the Islanders. I really like what they're doing. Now we come to number 5. I'm giving it to the Flames. They have drafted really, really well this past year. And if you look at the NCAA scoring charts, this is a team that has some of the, I think it was 5 of the 10 scorers or something like that. They have done really, really well. What is there not to say about Carson Karls? Number 1, going to be that future partner of Perrick. He does a ton of things well, and he's going to stabilize that blue line for years to come. Cole Reshny, yes, maybe I didn't need to put him at 2, but I like him. Challenged himself in the NCAA. I love what this kid has for a game. He's going to have another big year. I think he's going to have a big year at Nodak this year, and he's got that top 6 ability in the future. The Calgary Flames are doing a lot of things well. Potter, yes, I have him ahead of Wittenbach. Potter reminds me a lot of Connor Garland in terms of skill and speed and competitiveness. So I think it's something that I just really like in his game. And then we go to Ethan Wittenbach. And the reason I have him down at 4 is he had a really, really good year this year. So now there's a lot of expectation on him. And I don't want to put that much on him. I want him to just develop. You've already expected Karls, Reshny, and Potter. They were high picks for you. You have expectations with them because their draft position comes with it. Ethan Wittenbach is found money a little bit, and I don't want to put him too far because this could you don't want this to just be a one-off. So I'm really looking forward to another good year for Wittenbach. I liked a couple of the clips I saw in development camp as well, and I just hope for another big year for him. Hextall, I'm still iffy on this pick, but I gotta trust what the Flames see. I had Valentini ahead of Hextall personally, and I know Valentini ended up going really later than he should have. I had a lot of other guys ahead of Hextall this year, and I knew people liked Hextall because you could see with his draft ranking. His numbers just didn't jump off the page from the USHL for me, for a guy drafted as high as he was. You can see there is a lot of ability there. He's got some offensive ability. He's got a good IQ. I don't see him being more than a third liner with, that depth scoring ability and a bit of a PP option. But I'm excited to see what he does next year in the NCAA. Because again, like, just everything just doesn't scream high-end prospect to me. But again, who am I to say anything? I'm just a guy on YouTube making videos about 18-year-olds. So personally, I'm not the highest on Hextall. I have him at number 5 strictly because of draft position and because I trust what the Flames have done. So I'm probably wrong, and I'll admit it. Hextall is probably going to be a very good player. Henry Muse, obviously only played 10 games for Michigan last year, so he's a little lower than I probably might have moved him to 4 if he had played the whole year. With him recovering, I'm excited to see. I really liked him when I was watching some of the Michigan games. I like his skating. I like his ability. I like his movement. There's a lot I like about him. Then you got Tobias Trudgeball. He was the number 1 goalie available in this draft, apparently, from a lot of sources. So good job, Calgary, for grabbing a really good goalie at a good spot. Chase Harrington. I love his style of game. It translates well. Could probably be a bottom 6 forward energy guy. You can tell he's from Prince George with his stat line of 105 PIMs and almost a point a game. I'm going to factor in that he's going to be a bit smarter in the future, pick his timing a bit more, and you're going to see. I don't know if he's going back to Spokane. I think you'll see 90 points and about 70 PIMs. But this is a guy that's going to, bring energy for a team. He's got a bit of that, mean streak in his game, and he's going to work hard, compete, and I like that about him. Hunter Berzutskwix, probably going to play as a 5-6 guy in the NHL this year. He's got some power play upside. Andrew Basha, versatile player, plays with pace. He's got a lot of compete. He's got some offensive upside. I was kind of happy he went back to the WHL this year. It's kind of fun for him. And he'll have a really strong year with the Wranglers this next year coming up. And he got some graduating prospects. With Zane Parekh, obviously, he played the whole year. Matvey Gridin, kind of up and down a bit. But, man, when he was in the NHL, he did a lot of things really well. He's got that scoring ability. Samuel Hansek, another guy who graduated. And an honorable mention to Simon Nemec, who they just traded for with New Jersey. Obviously, he's played in the NHL for 3 years, but he's from some of these classes that these guys are still technically prospects from. And then Jonathan Castagna, they received in the Uyghur trade. There's something building here in Calgary, and I like what they're doing here. They're building it hopefully right. Okay, now it's time for my 6 worst prospect classes. Originally I was going to do 5, but I felt like these 6 were the ones that needed to be looked at. Now, we could easily throw a few other teams in here. New Jersey, Tampa. But I put these teams here because all 6 are looked at as contenders. And they already blew a lot of their prospects on trades. A lot of tougher classes looking at them all. Really, I just put them as 6. There's really not like a who's worse, who's better. They're kind of all pretty, I would say, kind of even-ish. If you want to look at that, Minnesota might be the best of the 6 here. Now that I'm kind of looking at it again as I'm recording this, but I'll just go through kind of, Edmonton. They picked up Howard in a trade with Tampa Bay, but other than that, like, Quinn Hudson has played some games, but the rest of this class is bleak. I wasn't in love with the Burst Counts pick, but we'll see about it. I mean, I again, could be very wrong. I like Boaki, I like Asher Barnett, but who knows where all these guys, there could be another. They haven't done well drafting outside of the first round, the Oilers. They need to be better at it. And I'm hopeful now, like they can figure it out. So we'll see. We'll see. Dallas, another pretty bleak pool. Cameron Schmidt, I really like. He might be another Stankoven. Jakub Vanacek, I think he'll be a player. Emil Hemming has good upside as well. They want to go for it. They may have to move some of these guys. A lot depends on this Jason Robertson situation. But again, these 5 guys might end up being really good NHLers because Dallas has always drafted very, very well. And I could be completely wrong, and this class might be one of the best ones we have right now because that's how Dallas has kind of done it lately. And I give it to them. Props to them is what I'm saying. Colorado, I like Sheloff and Hamilton from this year. Both, skill, high IQ guys. Sheloff obviously has a ton of skill. I think both will adjust, but you never know with prospects nowadays too, especially those skilled guys. Can it translate? You need a lot of other things to go for you. Your compete needs to be up there. A lot of things need to do well. Let's not forget they just signed TJ Hughes out of college. Yes, 24 years old, but this guy might end up being a really good player. Like he had a really good run in the AHL there when he was there. They have a small cupboard, right? They've given up a lot of picks. All these teams have pretty small cupboards now. They need to be smart with some free agent signings. Like you saw, Edmonton made that one signing out of Czech. They try and do it every year. Colorado, Dallas, Vegas seem to like to grab NCAA guys coming out. You got to find prospects other places too, right? You can't just you don't have enough in the cupboard to make all these trades sometimes. Minnesota obviously was tops of the prospects, but they made the Quinn Hughes trade. Worth it, obviously. I actually still like what they have. I right now, looking at this again, I would say this is my number one of this worst 6. Riley Height, I'm a fan of. Charlie Stramel, I'm a fan of. Ryder Ritchie, I'm a fan of. Halquist, Ruzicka, I don't love, right? So this is what gets them into the worst prospects classes, is you got three prospects at the moment, right? And you go to Vegas, you kind of only have 1 B+, 1 B- player, and then a few players you got late in drafts, right? I'd like to see them keep Pepper Ryan, and the rest of them they'll probably end up trading because that's how Vegas operates, right? When was the last draft pick of Vegas that actually played for them? I don't know, and they haven't been around long. But I think Pippa Ryan is a guy they got to keep. He's got that style of play that just fits pro-like. It's an interesting concept the way Vegas runs their team. Florida obviously similar. They've always picked guys that fit what they're trying to build there though, and I appreciate that about Florida. Grayson Sachin's a bit of a different guy. He's got a lot of high-end skill too. Zarowski, I really like Cole Zarowski. I can't believe they got him as late as they did. They picked some bigger bodies in Ignatavicius and Ryder Cali, both guys that kind of fit the Florida Panthers style. They don't have a ton of prospects, but they draft really well. And, they can make moves, and these guys might, play for them or they might not. But yeah, as we're looking at this is, kind of where I see some of the prospect classes. And I could be completely wrong, and I probably am, because drafting is tough. It's very, very tough. It's not easy. Some teams have done a very, very good job of it, and some teams haven't. So, but this is kind of the way I see the prospect pools right now. But if you look at my top 5 and my bottom 6, we got a ton of rebuilders and we got a ton of contenders. And that's kind of how things shape up in the NHL.